Match 53, Zilla vs. Rodan, by Christian Salibert. The mutant reptile known as Zilla trampled through what was left of Sydney. The creature had caused a great deal of damage to the city, as per his alien commander's instructions. But now night had fallen on the Australian city, and Zilla was received no further orders. Left to his own devices, the beast began to wander the crushed streets of Sydney, slinking back and forth through what few buildings remained. But Zilla grew tired and lay down on the asphalt, resting as he awaited any further word from his master.
Are you sure it was asphalt?
He's taking down.
Instead of ass. Zilla wanted some ass.
But Zilla's rest was soon ruined by a high-pitched cackle as a high-pitched cackle pierced the night air. The lizard's eyes opened and he snapped to attention. Hearing another cry, he marched out towards the ocean, seeking the noise's source. Zilla reached the land's edge, turning his head from side to side. He saw nothing. He heard the cry again, but still could not see what was making the sound. Suddenly he heard something else. He began to turn his head, ellipses, and pass. Great shot. You're up.
Something large slammed into Zilla, sending him flapping through the air and crashing to the ground. The reptile groaned as his face smashed into the pavement before he managed to get back to his feet. He turned and roared furiously, ready to tear whatever had attacked him apart. Unfortunately, the thing smashed into him again, this time from behind, again dropping Zilla to the ground. Groggily and cautiously, Zilla returned to his feet once more. This time, he saw a large flying beast landing from him. Rodan glared at Zilla and cackled a challenge, but any luck this lizard would prove to be his next meal. Zilla tilted his head in confusion. This creature, wasn't it one of his allies? Another of his commander's warriors? But then he shook his head clear and growled. It didn't matter. This beast had attacked him, and Zilla would make him pay for that. With a mighty roar, Zilla threw his arms open and charged. Pass.
Joe, you're up.
Seconds before he would have reached his foe, Rodan flapped his wings and took to the sky. Zilla looked up and stared at Rodan as he flew through the air. Mutant Blana. He was helpless to do anything. Well, to be fair, it is Zilla.
No one cares for him.
Yeah.
He's not even going to give him the time of day.
Except watch the pterodactyl flew around him.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Flew around him. Yeah.
Damn it. Sizing up the situation, Zilla screamed, demanding he come down to fight. Diving down and striking Zilla with his beak, again flooring the reptile. As Zilla tried to get to his feet, Rodan struck him again, and again, and again.
Again.
We get it.
Got it.
Slamming him into the pavement. Are you sure it's not asphalt? Zilla tried to rise again, but Rodan flew past and clutched Zilla's head in his talons and pulled him into a building, sending Zilla's head into it and bringing it down on the lizard. Cried out as the debris crashed down upon him. Rodan, having flown a distance away, turned back and headed straight for planning on goring Zilla with his beak. Unfortunately, Zilla had other plans. Pulling himself out of the rubble, he turned and faced Rodan. With a roar and a tremendous leap, he flew through the air and collided with the pterodon, bringing his feet up against Rodan's chest. Ooh. The two hit the ground with a thunderous crash. Zilla atop Rodan. Oh my.
Alright, pass to Nagoda.
You know,
Fast.
since Zilla's involved with this, I'm not saying oh my, because Zilla's just not hot. He's not sad.
But Rodan's sexy.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm just not gonna.
Is Rodan not sexy enough for you? No. How dare you?
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if Zilla ruins everything. I'm sorry if I hate Zilla with all my heart. Any other, even the badly written Godzilla vs. Gamera was hot. But this is not hot. This is not sexy.
Alright, Nagoda,
Okay, so-
you there?
Yeah. Okay. With his foe finally at his mercy, Zilla began clawing and biting at Rodan's face. Blood was drawn as Zilla's claws raked Rodan's flesh, causing the flying kaiju to cry out in panic. He tried to pick up at Zilla's face with his beak, but the reptile responded by smacking his clawed hand across Rodan's face. It was then that Rodan decided to. The horns on top of his head began flashing with violet light. This caused Zilla to stop his assault momentarily, once in confusion, like he usually does. The costume dearly. That does not make sense.
The costume
The
dearly.
costume
Yeah, that's
dearly.
weird.
As seconds later, Rodan pointed his beak right at Zilla and spewed forth a uranium heat beam, striking Zilla in the face and knocking him away. As Zilla clutched his face and screamed in pain, Rodan flapped his wings and got to his feet. He began flapping his wings, generating hurricane-like winds which began to batter his foe. Zilla roared in defiance, and Rodan responded with another blast of energy from his beak, striking Zilla's legs and breaking him to the asphalt. As Zilla rolled around on the ground, Rodan took this to the skies once again. Again and again he attacked his foe from the air.
Again and again and again.
And again and again.
Yep.
And again, and again.
But this time he would not risk. He spit out another heat beam, slicing across Zilla's tail. A second hit him square in the third and final blast hit Zilla directly in the head, causing the irradiated iguana to cry out in agony. Zilla shook and twitched as he reeled from Rodan's attack, dying slowly.
Mhm.
Rodan hovered in the air, watching gleefully as his soon-to-be prey suffered. Zilla
did
knew
Alex.
Zilla knew he was in trouble. This beast was proving to be much stronger than he had anticipated. He was too fast, and his heat beam burned badly. He needed a plan. He quickly pulled himself up, sank his claws into the ground, and began to dig. Within moments, a large tunnel was formed, which Zilla was already beginning to disappear down, running away. Rodan realized what he was doing and swooped down to try and stop the lizard's plan. But he was too late. His talons flew across the tunnel's entrance mere seconds after the tip of Zilla's tail disappeared within. And pass.
Alright, Alex, you finish it off.
Alright, let's do this. For a few moments, Rodan slowly circled the hole in the ground, waiting for Zilla to emerge, but soon it became apparent that he wasn't going to, at least not without some encouragement. Rodan fired blast after blast after blast after blast of his heat beam, striking the edges of the tunnel. The ensuing explosions threatening to close it up. When Zilla still refused to come out, Rodan lowered himself, touching down outside the rim of the asshole.
He's got to wait to February 2nd. That's what he's got to do. Then he'll pop out.
He inspected the tunnel, then cackled into it, calling Zilla back to battle. A few more moments passed, and still no sign of Zilla was seen. Rodan lifted his head into the air and let loose a victory cry. He may have not claimed Zilla as a meal, but he still won the fight. He began to flap his wings so that he could return to the sky. The ground exploded as Zilla leapt up out of the tunnel, tackling Rodan to the ground. Rodan tried to attack Zilla with his heat beam, but Zilla's jaws instantly closed down on Rodan's throat, stopping the beam and closing off the pterodactyl's windpipe. Rodan struggled violently as he tried to dislodge his attacker, but Zilla was not about to let him snatch victory out of his claws a second time. Biting down hard. Zilla ripped a large chunk from Rodan's neck, holding it in his mouth. Rodan screeched in terror as blood poured from his throat, but his struggling was already fading in intensity. Soon his limbs no longer moved at all. His eyes closed and his head fell to the ground. Rodan was dead. Zilla chewed a chunk of flesh in his mouth for a moment, then swallowed. He growled, contently, it was so much better than fish. Winner, Rodan.
Because Rodan gave.
Yeah, for those who don't know, this match, Rodan is actually a metaphor for Alex, who thinks he's on top of everything, but then life gets him and eats away at his neck.
Kaiju X, are you trying to say that life is as pathetic as Zilla?
Yes.
Fair enough.
But first comment I'm gonna say with this match, the banner, I mean, it's like
it's ugly.
It's really low res. I mean, it's like I could probably understand that it might have been. I think it's taken from the movie.
It is.
I think it is.
It looks like it's taken from the movie, which isn't always a bad thing. I mean, it's like some cool banners came out from using stills from the movies and just slapping another monster in there. That's fine and good. It just seems really low res.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's probably my only real major complaint, though. At least with the banner. But the match itself is like, it's just kind of like standard fare, and it was rather interesting. I do kind of like the fact that it's like, oh, this is the final War Zilla, so he's controlled by the Exilians, and he's just left to do his own thing. Then suddenly another Rodan appears, and he's kind of confused, for implying that the Final Wars Rodan exists in this universe, which I find to be pretty cool. But otherwise, the match itself was like, it's got its moments. You got Zilla striking back, Rodan slashing him apart with his beak and wings, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of like odd sentence structures, maybe a little bit, and just some points that could have been touched up a little bit, like make it a little bit more wordy. But otherwise, it's solid, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, solid 2 out of 10.
Yes.
No, I kid. The banner is the banner's weak. The match itself, though, I wish it would have tied a little. Again, this is still a time in the KWC when the story wasn't the biggest thing. People were still just experimenting. There wasn't that big of a press for it.
Sounds sexy.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, it's early
cool time.
KWCs were just pretty much all about we beat the crap out of each other and that's it. Like maybe some minimal story elements, like with the previous match 52. It's like that had a little setup, but that's just it. It just needs that little bit of setup, and you get on to fighting monsters. It's like it's not going to flesh out that whole story. It's just there for setup purposes.
Mm.
But yeah, again, that is just, being early KWC
Never to be
match and all
seen
that.
from again.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yep.
But yeah, I remember when this was posted up, I was almost sure Rodan was going to win, but nope, Zilla. I was like, huh, interesting.
Yeah, again, a nice little, probably not who you'd guess if you looked at the image, which is a nice little surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Like it when that, you're caught off guard, like, what?
Mm-hmm. Right. But, Alex, any thoughts?
Trying not to embarrass myself in front of class here.
I hate it because Zilla won.
Oh yeah, definitely. I hated it because Zilla won. It was one of the most disappointing things I've ever read.
Rodan was dead.
The ending pissed me off so much that I try to envision that Rodan won instead. That Rodan poisoned Zilla by eating his flesh that he basically dipped himself into poison before getting killed.
No, man, you just take out the last 3 paragraphs and you're good to go.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, did you have any additional thoughts?
Kind of the same as you guys. The match was alright. The banner is awful.
Nagoda, did you have anything to add on?
I would say the match is pretty okay. I need Zilla to get a win against Rodan.
Which he shouldn't have.
Alright, Otherwise, I mean, I guess that's probably everyone's general consensus. The banners, unfortunately, have a lower quality this time, but the match itself is overall, it's decent. Could have again early match, so improving is there's always room to improve, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, with the exception of Alex, a lot of people don't seem to mind the winner. So
It is a big deal.
to you. Well, anyway, that was match 53, and we will see you guys next time for match 54. Until then, everyone.